Okay, so imagine having your rights determined by the words on that card, the words that you just wrote down. Imagine not being granted the right to vote or having your voice be heard. Imagine not being able to attend the same school as your friends. Imagine being forced to drink from a separate drinking fountain than everyone else. Now imagine finding the person who gives your life meaning, who complements your very existence, the person that you could spend the rest of your life with. Now picture the moment that they take their last breath. Do you picture yourself at their side? Do you picture yourself holding their hand, waiting for death to take the last bit of life they have within them? Now imagine that a single definition is that which will keep you 500 feet away, down a hall separated by a set of double doors, in a waiting room full of strangers that don't know your name, while your reason for your very existence is slipping away into an everlasting slumber. Now flip over your card. Imagine a world, a country, where that one word on that card is what defines your rights. We're all human. We all deserve rights. Every human deserves equal rights, including marriage rights for same-sex couples. Before this assignment, it was easy for me to just sit back, take it aside, not educate myself, just know that that's how I felt and that's what I thought was right. Well, this assignment taught me to educate my opinion. And the facts that I found are astonishing, and today I'll share those with you. So first, we're going to talk about the civil rights, the rights that are denied to same-sex couples. Next, we're going to talk about the reasons why civil unions and domestic partnerships are not a substitute for marriage. And lastly, we'll talk about how you can get active and you can make a change, whether you're gay, straight, whatever you identify with. So let's talk about those rights that are denied to same-sex couples. A single piece of legislation made it legal to deny rights to same-sex couples. Signed into law, the Defensive Marriage Act, signed into law by President Bill Clinton on September 21st, 1996, the Defensive Marriage Act defined the words marriage and spouse. The Defensive Marriage Act, also referred as DOMA, gives states the right to refuse to recognize same-sex marriages performed in other states in this country. Under this law, same-sex marriages that are legal in one state may or may not be legal in another state. DOMA also creates a federal definition of marriage and spouse for the first time in our country's history. Marriage is defined as a legal union between one man and one woman as husband and wife. And spouse is defined as a person of the opposite sex who is a husband or a wife. Marriages that do not fit into this description would not be eligible for any benefits offered by the federal government. Under DOMA, even if a state were to recognize same-sex marriages, the federal government would not. As of April 2009, 29 states have enacted constitutional amendments defining marriage as a union of one man and one woman, and another 13 states have statutory bans against same-sex marriage. According to the Williams Institute, there are more than 750,000 same-sex couples living in the United States. Same-sex couples and their families are denied access to more than 1,138 federal rights, protections, and responsibilities automatically granted to married heterosexual couples. Those numbers being calculated by the Government Accountability Office. Currently in the United States, same-sex couples in long-term committed relationships pay higher taxes, are denied basic protections and rights granted to married straight couples. Such inequities impose added costs on these families, such as increased health insurance premiums, higher tax burdens, and the absence of pension benefits or Social Security benefits in the absence or in the event of a partner's death. So let's take a look at a slide This information's provided by the Human Rights Campaign Foundation on their website. These are just a couple of the things that are denied to same-sex couples. Hospital visitation, Social Security benefits, immigration, health insurance, estate taxes, family leave, nursing homes, home protection, pensions. So now we've looked at the rights that are denied to same-sex couples. Let's take a look at why civil unions and domestic partnerships are not a substitution for marriage. Comparing marriage to civil unions or domestic partnerships is difficult, frankly, because one is the real deal and these others are not. Opposite-sex couples who are eligible to marry may have their marriage performed in any state and have it recognized in every other state in this country, even the world. Couples who are joined in a civil union or domestic partnership have no guarantee that its protections will travel with them to other states. Regardless of civil union or domestic partnerships, same-sex couples do not receive any of the more than 1,100 federal benefits and protections of marriage. This being because of the Defense of Marriage Act. It seems simple enough to believe that every human deserves equal rights, but some people believe otherwise. Some may believe that God meant for marriage to be between a man and a woman. It's important to remember that the framers of our Constitution established a principle of separation of church and state. This principle applies no less to marriage than any other issue. We must stress that marriage has many aspects, one of those aspects being a legal contract between you and the government. It is the strictly legal aspect that is being debated here, not the religious. Others believe that sexual orientation is a choice. Decades of research all point to the fact that sexual orientation is not a choice. I ask you to think back to the day that you decided you were a heterosexual, or a homosexual, bisexual. My guess is that that day doesn't exist. You don't have that memory because you didn't decide. Sexual orientation is a part of us. Just like the color of our skin, the color of your eyes, your hair. Some things you can change, and sexual orientation is not one of them. So civil unions are progress, but inequalities still exist. Now imagine a country where rights are not decided by your gender, the color of your skin, or even your sexual orientation. I stand before you today asking you not to do what's best for yourself. I'm asking you to think of those who will fight for their rights in the future. Every day, brave Americans share something that they've been keeping from their friends and family. Imagine one day telling your brother, sister, mother, father, child even, best friend, that they don't deserve the same rights that you deserve because they're different. Imagine a day when every state recognizes that two people who are in a committed, loving relationship should be able to protect each other with basic legal rights and safeguards. Imagine a world and a time when every state is purple. Imagine a time where every state believes that marriage licenses for gay couples are allowed. Change is inevitable. One day our minds will evolve to believe that everyone is equal, but change begins with you. Today I've shown you the rights that are denied to same-sex couples. I've shown you why civil unions and domestic partnerships are not a substitution for marriage. And now it's time for me to show you how you can get active and you can make a change. Talk to your friends and family. Don't hide your compassion for equality. You don't have to be a homosexual or a bisexual to get active and do something. Fight for rights for everyone, because someday in the future you might know someone. You might be that person that your rights are being denied. Say that equal rights for every human is a must. Every human deserves equal rights. Let your voice be heard. I'd like to conclude with a quote from the first openly gay man to be elected to public office in California. Harvey Milk once said, "All men are created equal, no matter how hard you try, those words can never be erased.